The stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas. Texas secession resolution passes GOP committee. Now, from what I understand, yeah, it says it's a non-binding independence measure headed for full party vote on Saturday. So what I can't say is, let me back up. What I can say is this is just a test. They want to see, would we actually have the votes if we have to go there and secede from the Union? I think maybe Texas is getting a little nervous about one too many false flag and hoax shootings and other things of that nature happening, and are deciding we don't want any part of this nonsense. The Lone Star State will find out on Saturday, which may have actually been this Saturday. Hang on. Texas secession. What we got here? Because I think it was this past Saturday, actually. Texas GOP votes down secession proposal. Texas Republicans fail to pass measure asking voters on secession. So they wanted to see, do we have the votes? Is that where the mindset's at, that we may have to be seceding from the Union in the near future? Just that act alone, honestly, speaks massive volumes of where we're at in this country. When a state, of course, of all states, it's going to be Texas. Go Texas. But for them to even do that, to even hold a vote, to kind of put the government on notice, like, hey, we're thinking about this, says an awful lot about where the hell our country's at these days. Texas Republicans fail to pass a measure asking voters on secession. Texas GOPers failed to pass a measure on Saturday, which would have asked voters to decide whether the state should secede. If the measure would have passed, voters would have been faced with a non-binding survey question on whether they thought the state should be independent for the rest of the country when they went to vote on the March 1st primary ballot, according to the report. The proposal had been a hot debate among members of the governing body of the state's Republican Party. So it says state GOP leaders in a predictable but closely watched vote have defeated a proposal to ask Texas voters whether they favor secession. In a voice vote Saturday afternoon, the state Republican Executive Committee rejected a measure that would have put the issue on the March 1st primary ballot. The ballot language would have been non-binding, amounting to a formal survey asking voters if they'd like to see Texas secede from the Union. Again, if they would have said yes, it wouldn't have mattered. They were just getting the votes to secede. Would you? While the proposal's defeat was expected, the measure had sparked some heated debate on the 60-member executive committee, the governing body of the Republican Party of Texas. Seeking to avoid a protracted fight, the executive committee voted early Saturday afternoon to cap discussion of the issue at 30 minutes, then put it up to an up or down vote. Tanya Robertson, the SREC member who introduced the proposal, argued at the executive committee meeting in Austin that the measure would have been harmless, allowing voters to register an opinion only. She also suggested the ballot language would have helped get the vote out among some Texas Republicans who have been sitting out recent elections. So if it's just a voice vote, that's like a survey. Would you be for or against? That's what it been. So it had to pass before it could get to that point to become a survey, if you will. So in that case, knowing it can't possibly do it, can't become law, it's just a survey. Why would they turn it down? Why would they, largely expected to be turned down? Why not put it on there? Let the little guy, right? The citizens, let them speak. Because I guarantee you, the grand old party or the GOP of Texas would have found out, oh, whoa, we weren't expecting that many people to say, yeah, let's get rid of the United States and let's become our own country. Let's secede immediately. Whoa. Then what would happen? Then people might actually start demanding it. Can't have that. We won't even allow them to vote on a freaking survey, essentially. She says the goal of these is to take a thermometer of how Texans feel about an issue. And what better issue for Texas uh, and what better issue for Texas to do that with? I agree, Tanya. I do agree. Opponents of the proposal argued it would have been an unproductive way for Texans to register their dissatisfaction with the federal government, however strongly they feel. So, in other words, they feel strongly about their dissatisfaction with the government, so much so that they would vote yes on a survey that if this was a real vote, I would be voting yes right now to get rid of the federal government off our back and become our own government. The pro-secession measure was sent to the full body on Friday after approval by its resolutions committee. The ballot language before the executive committee Saturday afternoon read, quote, if the federal government continues to disregard the Constitution and the sovereignty of the state of Texas should reassert its prior status as an independent nation. Calling it unpatriotic, the Texas Democratic Party had seized on the secession debate as evidence that the state GOP was falling victim to extremists in its own ranks. Every hardworking Texan should be worried that fringe issues are now the hot topic in the same party that controls state government, Crystal K. Perkins said, who is the director of the Texas Democratic Party. Earlier Saturday, the executive committee defeated another controversial proposal, one in favor of removing the party's 2016 convention from Dallas to Houston. The proposal, which was shot down in a nearly unanimous vote, was inspired by opposition to Dallas' updated non-discrimination ordinance. Leading the charge to relocate the convention was Jared Woodfill, a key figure in the successful effort to repeal a similar law in Houston, which we don't really care about. We want to see Texas secede. That's what we want to see. Secession to the max. Now, what I'm not seeing here is what was the actual vote count. Just, out of curiosity, of the grand old party. But I believe they didn't even want to let it do that. If it's just a survey, essentially, voting yes today gives a measure a little line in the upcoming vote in whatever March 1st primary ballot. It's just a question. Would if the government continues not respecting the Constitution and whatnot, as it said, states' rights and whatnot, should we secede? I think they would have had so many yeses, it would have been unbelievable. It would have been mind-blowing. We don't even want to go there. Let's not even let this become an issue. We're going to shut it down right now by voting no. So, again, it just speaks volumes of where we are in this country. The controllers of this country, the owners of this country, and it's not you and me. It goes to show you how the people really feel. So even people who are in the government, like this person who brought this forward to be put out for a vote, they're starting to think, I bet they're an extremist. Oh, secede from the union, you're an extremist, right wing. Oh, really? No, I think they're concerned, and they have genuine concerns. Like when people can randomly be put on a no-fly list by someone you don't know who, and you can't get taken off, and you got to file a lawsuit, and it's going to take 5 to 10 years to do anything, and then maybe as the case is about to move forward, you get taken off the list all of a sudden. So then you can't really sue for that. You got to start a new lawsuit. I don't think you can continue. You may have to start a new lawsuit because they took you off the list. You won, essentially. And I got to start a new lawsuit because you did it anyways. Or could you continue the lawsuit? See, it'd be tough. But then they get to a federal court. We're tossing. You're already off the list, sir? Yep. We don't have time for the toss it up. Toss it. We're not going to see this case. Oh, I'll go to the Supreme Court. We won't see it either. Oh, I'll go to. Oh, can't go anywhere else. It's issues like that I think Texas realizes. This is not what this country is supposed to be. Citizens have a right to due process. Bill of Rights have been trampled and double trampled and triple trampled. And some of them have just about had enough. But not enough of them. Not yet. But again, I got a sneaky suspicion sometime in the future this is going to come up, and it ain't going to be we're going to ask the citizens to vote for a survey if they. No, it'll be we're voting today to secede. We don't care about the citizens. We've seen enough, and we're out. But we are a ways away from that. I feel. I do not think for one second that this type of story is just going to go away and nothing will ever happen. It'll be Texas. It'll be this one. It'll be that one. Edgar Casey, John Teeter. In fact, if you don't mind, Edgar Casey. United States split into different regions. I'm trying to think, was it him? I maybe I'm not typing for the right thing. Pretty sure he said it would be divided. And I know, well, I know one thing. He talked about the Great Lakes splitting straight down through the Mississippi, and you'd have essentially two land masses. But I could have swore, and I don't really see it here right now, that he said it would be split into different areas. You know, similar type of secession, except not single states, but groups of states. I know John Teeter certainly did. I could have swore Edgar Casey said something about that too, but I'm not seeing it right now. I'm not going to sit here and search around forever to make you guys wait or whatever. So anyways, that's it for now. Take care.